The night was thick with tension, a quiet so deep that even the crickets dared not chirp. A shadow moved through the dense jungle, swift and silent, as if carried by the very wind. The figure halted at the edge of a clearing, eyes piercing through the darkness. She raised her hand, signaling her warriors to stop. They were close, so close that they could hear the faint drumming from the Oyo camp just beyond the trees. Tonight, the fate of the Dahomey kingdom hung in the balance. Not long ago, the Oyo Empire was the unrivaled powerhouse of the region. Its armies feared, and its rulers unchallenged. Under the iron rule of the Alamo, the empire had expanded its borders and collected tributes from its vassal states. But in the west, a storm was brewing. The Dahomey kingdom, once a tributary of Oyo, had grown restless under the burden of endless demands. Led by a fierce and visionary leader, Queen Tassi Hangbe, Dahomey was preparing for a rebellion that would shake the foundations of the Oyo Empire. Legend spoke of an old prophecy whispered by the Oyo oracles, a prophecy of a fierce queen who would rise from the west and bring ruin to the empire. The king, confident in his power, dismissed the warning as mere superstition. Yet Queen Tassi knew the prophecy well. She had dreamed of it, of rivers running red and palaces set ablaze. With the help of her Amazons, the legendary female warriors of Dahomey, she began to rally her forces, preparing for a conflict that would defy the odds. In a sacred grove, under the watchful eyes of the gods, Queen Tassi stood surrounded by her warriors. She raised a ceremonial blade and sliced her palm, letting the blood drip into the earth. Her warriors followed suit, swearing an oath to fight to the death. They would not bow to Oyo's might. They would reclaim their freedom. United under this blood oath, the Dahomey warriors were not just soldiers. They were a force of nature, driven by a queen who would stop at nothing to see Oyo fall. The first strike was swift and brutal. Dahomey warriors descended on Oyo's outposts, cutting off supply lines and spreading chaos. The Oyo generals, accustomed to facing enemies who fought with fear, were taken aback by the relentless ferocity of Dahomey's forces. Queen Tassi led from the front, her Amazons cutting through Oyo ranks with a precision and ruthlessness that left their foes in disarray. But the true test came at the battle. Oyo had sent its full might to crush the rebellion once and for all. The air was thick with the sound of war cries and the clash of steel. For hours, the battle raged, neither side willing to give ground. Queen Tassi, mounted on a warhorse, rallied her troops with a voice that cut through the din of battle. As the sun dipped low, the tide began to turn. Dahomey's warriors, driven by the spirit of their ancestors and the leadership of their queen, pushed Oyo's forces back. The once mighty Oyo army, unable to match the tenacity of Dahomey, began to crumble. In the aftermath, the king's palace was a shadow of its former glory, its banners torn and its halls echoing with silence. The Oyo Empire, which had once commanded fear and respect, was now at the mercy of the Dahomey. She had brought the Oyo Empire to its knees. The tribute that once flowed from Dahomey to Oyo was now reversed, and a new power had risen in the west. Dahomey's victory over Oyo was more than just a conquest. It was the dawn of a new era. Under Queen Tassi rule, Dahomey transformed into a formidable force, respected and feared by all. The Amazons, once symbols of resistance, became legends in their own right, their names whispered across kingdoms. Subscribe to our channel for more epic stories of African history and legends. Don't forget to like, share, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest videos.